as U.S. President Donald Trump touts great progress toward ending the war in Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin appears to be laying the groundwork for a masterstroke of strategic diplomacy, one that could reshuffle the balance of power in Europe and expose Western divisions. Trump, who has prioritized a swift resolution to the three-year conflict, announced plans to meet Putin within weeks, with hopes of brokering a ceasefire.
Putin and Zelensky agreed to a summit yet? And where and when would that be?
Well, there's a very good prospect that they will. And we haven't determined where, but we had some very good talks with President Putin today. And there's a very good chance that we could be ending the round, ending the end of that road. That road was long and continues to be long, but there's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
While the U.S. president's enthusiasm has made headlines, seasoned observers see something else unfolding: a meticulously orchestrated move by Putin to draw Washington into a high-stakes diplomatic engagement, one that could leave the West fragmented and expose deep inconsistencies in its Ukraine policy. For months, the Kremlin has watched as U.S. and European support for Ukraine showed signs of fatigue. Now, Putin may sense the ideal moment to shift the narrative by welcoming dialogue, even in the absence of immediate military de-escalation. Moscow projects the image of a rational actor willing to negotiate peace while quietly preserving its strategic gains in the Donbass and beyond. This dual-track strategy is nothing new. Putin knows how to keep his adversaries talking while advancing his interests on the ground. Indeed, since the start of Trump's second term in January, the Kremlin has shown restraint in its public comments about peace, waiting for the moment when its counterpart in Washington is most eager for a win. That moment may now have arrived. For President Trump, ending the Ukraine war could be a Nobel-worthy achievement, the crown jewel in a foreign policy defined by bold, personal diplomacy. For Putin, it's an opportunity to control the pace and substance of negotiations, while testing America's readiness to deal on Russia's terms. The Kremlin has not confirmed a summit date, but officials have welcomed Trump's overtures. According to insiders, Moscow prefers to let the White House push for rapid progress, while Russia frames any agreement as a hard-earned compromise. Such a strategy would not only neutralize further Western sanctions, but potentially legitimize Russia's territorial claims in Ukraine through de facto diplomatic recognition. And with a trilateral meeting involving Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also being proposed, Putin may now find himself seated at the table as a global statesman, not the pariah the West tried to portray. Behind closed doors, European leaders are increasingly nervous. Trump's transactional approach to diplomacy and his desire for quick victories may lead to concessions that Kyiv and its allies find difficult to swallow. Moscow knows this, and it may be leveraging those divisions to weaken the Western Front. According to former U.S. officials, Putin understands Trump's affinity for spectacle and headlines, and could offer symbolic gestures like temporary halts on airstrikes or talks on arms control that appear meaningful without sacrificing core Russian objectives. Even Ukraine has shown signs of anxiety over the shift, while President Zelensky expressed cautious optimism this week, calling Russian signals more inclined toward a ceasefire. Some in Kyiv fear being sidelined in a U.S.-Russia deal that reshapes the region without Ukraine's full consent. Putin's timing is no accident. The Russian economy, bolstered by oil exports and alternative trade partners, has weathered the sanctions regime better than expected. Meanwhile, Trump's threats to slap tariffs on Indian imports, one of Russia's top oil customers, add pressure to Moscow's global partners, but also risk driving a wedge between Washington and other powers. In this context, Putin may be inviting the West into a carefully prepared diplomatic trap, one that paints Russia as cooperative, encourages the lifting of sanctions, and solidifies gains on the battlefield, all while buying time to regroup for a longer-term advantage. While Western pundits urge caution and warn of past Russian duplicity, the current landscape favors Putin. Trump's willingness to re-engage in direct diplomacy and Europe's desperation for stability have created an opening the Kremlin is unlikely to waste. The key is to ensure they don't deceive anyone in the details, Zelensky warned. But Putin, ever the tactician, may already be several moves ahead, offering just enough hope for peace to draw in his rivals, while quietly setting the stage for a historic strategic win. As the world waits for the next summit, one thing is clear: Putin is not just participating in diplomacy, he's directing it.